Welcome back to World of Immersion. So recently we took a trip to the East Coast where we did 5 theme parks in 5 days. And one of the theme parks that we visited was Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Now this was our first time ever visiting a Busch Gardens park and we were blown away. It was absolutely phenomenal. You can find our review up on our channel. But in today's video, we're going to be ranking every single coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. They have 10 roller coasters, and so we're going to be ranking them from worst to best based on our experience. Now, we want to give a huge disclaimer. Verbolten was unfortunately closed for construction when we were there. Huge disappointment. That was honestly the only ride that was closed on our trip that we wanted to do, but it sucks because we really were looking forward to that one. So we ranked it in this list based on where we think it would have gone, just based on the type of roller coasters that we like and what we've heard about it, and based on the layout and the POVs. But kicking off our list in number 10, we have Grover's Alpine Express. Now, this is a pretty typical kiddie coaster. There's honestly not much to it, not much that can be said, because it is the only kiddie coaster of the park, so that is why we rank it in last place. It's not terrible. It's a good family ride for the kids. Great little addition for the park. Most parks need one, so it's a good fit. But taking the number 9 spot, we have a slightly disappointing roller coaster, and this is Tempesto. This premiere ride, Skyrocket 2, is not that great. Now, if you have watched our other videos, you will know that we are not a fan of premiere rides multi-launches, specifically ones that have very, very tight carts and shoulder harnesses. What I mean by that is those comfort collars. And Tempesto seemed to be one of the worst carts we'd ever experienced. The lap bar was extremely tight, and those shin guards absolutely destroyed our legs, making it extremely uncomfortable. Now, it still was a slightly thrilling ride. The hang time was pretty good on that barrel roll on the top, and the launches were alright, but overall, just a sort of uncomfortable roller coaster, which is why we rank it at the number 9 spot. But taking the number 8 spot, we have the very, very old Aero Looper Loch Ness Monster. Now, we had heard some pretty bad things about this coaster, and it honestly wasn't too bad. Of course, it's going to be a little bit shaky because it is a old Aero Looper. However, it was still pretty fun. Those loops were very, very forceful. The drop was a ton of fun. The insane helix inside was kind of strange, but a little bit fun, to be honest. And overall, just a great coaster. Like I said, a little bit rough, but not too bad. Still some good forces. Taking the number 7 spot, we have the new for 2023 Dark Coaster. Now, this ride completely blew us away. It was a ton of fun. Now, first, I want to talk about the queue. The queue is very, very well themed. You have this awesome castle that you walk through, and it's very fun. It's a fun line to wait in. It's not too bad. Now, it does move relatively slow because the cart is so tiny, but we didn't wait a super long time. I think we waited the most like 30-40 minutes for this. But the ride itself is super fun. Those launches are awesome. The drive tire launches, they're relatively forceful for being a drive tire launch. And this ride in general is pretty forceful for it being a family coaster. It's very, very smooth. It's new Intamin, so I would hope it would be smooth. And of course, the carts are very, very fun. It's super open. It's a very, very cool feeling, sitting in those jet ski sort of type carts. And the theming throughout the ride too is very, very cool. They've got some awesome sets and a lot of cool stuff throughout the ride. A great addition, super good family coaster, and honestly just a really fun ride to do. Now, taking the number 6 spot, we have another slightly disappointing roller coaster. Still was a lot of fun, but slightly lower than what we thought it would be. This is Apollo's Chariot. Now, this roller coaster was very fun, do not get us wrong. It's a great hyper. There's some good airtime. There's some great moments that you can't get on a lot of other coasters. However, overall, it was kind of a lacking B&M hypercoaster. The airtime was good. However, the final section of Bunny Hills was extremely mediocre. I honestly don't know if I could say I got lifted out of my seat at all during that section. There's one sort of steep dip at the end of the Bunny Hill section where you do get a good amount of airtime. That was a ton of fun. But throughout the ride, I would say I didn't leave my seat that many times. Now, it still is a hypercoaster, so it still is going to be a lot of fun. But overall, slightly more disappointing than we thought it was going to be, which is why it takes the number 6 spot on our list. But coming at number 5, we have the Family GCI Invader. Now, this one completely blew me away because I had known this coaster existed, but I completely forgot about it, and it was a ton of fun. This ride is super duper smooth because it's very new. It's got some awesome forces. The airtime is just phenomenal throughout. GCI's never seem to disappoint, and this one was incredible. Now, it is technically a family coaster, but that does not stop it from providing some insane forces. It stays really low to the ground with sharp turns and sort of drawn out little hills and twists. It's very, very fun. It really does the GCI sort of feel really, really well, and it's overall just an incredible roller coaster and a ton of fun, which is why it takes the number 5 spot. Now, taking the number 4 spot, we have the tallest B&M invert in the world. This is Alpengeist. Now, we had heard some mixed reviews about this before. Some people said it was bad, some people said it was good, and we thought it was really, really good. It was super fun. There was a ton of force throughout the entire ride. The inversions were really, really intense and huge, which is super fun. That was definitely one of the coolest parts, is how ginormous this roller coaster is. The inversions are very intense, very fast, and overall it's just a great roller coaster. Now, the one downside we will say to it is that it is slightly too big for its own good. There is a little bit of a rattle during the fast section, but honestly, it's nothing too bad. It still is a super enjoyable ride, and we had a ton of fun on it. The giant inversions is definitely a really unique experience because most B&M inverts are on the smaller scale, and those inversions are very tight and compact, but these ones were really drawn out and large, but it doesn't change the fact that they're very intense because you're going so fast. So overall, a really fun B&M Hyper. Not the best B&M Hyper we've been on, but definitely not the worst. Taking the number 3 spot, we have where we think Verbolten would go. This roller coaster looks incredible. It is a family multi-launch with some awesome theming. It's got a drop track. It's got a great little drop at the end. We were super disappointed that we didn't get to ride this. It was definitely on our bucket list for this trip, but it's okay. We'll definitely have to go out there another time in our lifetime. But it did look very cool. The carts look awesome. It definitely is a super cool concept for a roller coaster, and we thought that we would have loved it. But with that being said, let's get back to the coasters that we did do, and taking the number 2 spot, we have Griffin. Now, this roller coaster we knew was going to be good, but we did not know just how incredible it would be. This ginormous B&M dive coaster completely blew us away. It was so incredibly smooth. It was a ton of fun. Those inversions are very, very intense. It is definitely a super, super unique experience that you don't get in a lot of other coasters, that you honestly don't get in a lot of other dive coasters. We've been on Valraven, which is also great. We've been on Emperor over at SeaWorld San Diego, which is also pretty good, but neither of them compared to Griffin. This one was just completely insane. We got an absurd amount of airtime in the back row over that drop. That was a ton of fun. And also being in the front row, just hanging over there 200 feet in the air, is terrifying. It is so much fun. And also, this roller coaster is buttery smooth. And you go through that insane layout. It is a ton of fun. And then you literally go into a mid-course and get another drop. It is just phenomenal. It is definitely on the longer end of dives that we've been on, and it's just a great coaster overall. Super fun. Completely blew our expectations because we did not expect this to be as good as it was, and it was just overall such a fun roller coaster and a great number 2 for the park. But taking the number 1 spot, we have the new for 2022 Intamin multi-launch Pantheon. Oh my goodness, this roller coaster completely blew us away. I had a feeling this was going to be my number 1 at the park anyway, but I did not think that it would be this good. Pantheon is a one-of-a-kind experience, and even though there's coasters like Velocicoaster out there, it is incredibly unique. To start off, you go into a small launch into one of the best moments of hang time I think I've ever experienced on a roller coaster. That corkscrew after the first launch, you are just hanging out of your seat. It feels like you were going to fly out. It is such a cool experience. It's honestly one of my favorite elements of the entire ride. You then go through a few twists and turns and into that swing launch. Oh my goodness, that again is one of the most intense moments of airtime I think I've ever experienced. Going backwards through that swing launch is insane, and then you just hang there, and then you go over the top hat. It is just such an incredible experience. That is definitely my favorite element of the entire ride. You then go through many, many awesome, drawn-out, huge elements like an overbank curve, a zero-G stall, and then you enter the brake run. This ride is so much fun. While the layout itself is not super long, duration-wise, it is very long because of the swing launch, which is honestly great. It is so much fun. I don't think it's quite better than Velocicoaster just because of Velocicoaster's theming, and it still is a longer ride. However, this ride is still incredible. It is absolutely phenomenal. Intamin did an incredible job. Their new generation coasters are incredible. The launches are great. Everything about it is awesome, and not to mention, we went on a very empty day, so we were able to do this coaster, I believe, 4 or 5 times in all different rows. It was great. I will have to say that I think the front row definitely was one of my favorites for this coaster. It was a ton of fun. The airtime was great in the front row. And overall, this is just a phenomenal roller coaster and definitely one of the best. But anyway, that's going to do it for our ranking. Let us know down in the comments if you completely agree or completely disagree with our ranking. Let us know down in the comments if you prefer Busch Gardens Williamsburg or Busch Gardens Tampa, because we have yet to visit Busch Gardens Tampa, and that might be on our bucket list for our next trip that we take. But yeah, let us know down in the comments what you thought of this ranking. Please make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss another video here on World of Immersion. Thank you so much for watching World of Immersion today, and we will catch you in the next one.